what's up you guys, it's the Curious Owl here, and I am today going to be doing my spoiler-free review of The Witches of the Glass Castle by Gabriella Lepore. This is a book that I was sent from Off Tomes Publishing to do as a read-along with the publishers, as it is a novel that is perfect for the Halloween time as it centers around witches. The whole story follows these two siblings named Mia and Dino who have just essentially found out that they are witches, and they are sent away by their mother and aunt to go and learn how to develop their powers over the summer with this older woman named Gwendolyn in this place called the Glass Castle. It is a remote area that is hidden away from the rest of the world and is essentially enchanted so that nobody outside of the witch community is able to see it. And along this journey, Mia and Dino meet several friends that they connect with and they start to develop their powers over the course of this novel, and even find out some very interesting information about their powers and who exactly they get their powers from and how exactly powerful they really are in terms of being witches with the rest of the community. So the novel really takes place kind of in media res, or in the middle of things for those of you who are not familiar with that term. Essentially, the novel starts out with Mia and Dino being taken by their mother Cassandra and Aunt Madeline to the Glass Castle, and it's them talking about kind of what has happened, and the mom and aunt are very excited for their children to be able to learn their powers and develop them over this next summer, and how hopeful they are that they are not going to turn out like their father and uncles who have mysteriously gone away. So overall, I did enjoy the novel. I was able to actually get through it fairly quickly. It was a very fast read despite being about 350 pages or so, but I had some very big problems with it. The most important thing that I think needs to be worked on with this novel is the pacing of the novel. From the beginning of the novel, everything is incredibly fast-paced, almost to the point where it's like rushing through the entire story. The relationships are very rushed. The dialogue between characters jumps around so much, and although it makes sense, it just doesn't feel like it's very in the moment. I definitely feel that this novel needed to be fleshed out more, especially certain relationships that develop in the story between Mia and several other characters and Dino and several other characters. It just was way too fast for my liking, and I don't really see how a lot of people enjoyed that aspect of the novel because it made the story feel so rushed. And although it was very quick to read, it was almost too quick for my liking, and I really wish that Gabriella Lepore would have taken more time to develop the scenes a little better, get to know the characters a little more, especially the supporting characters of Kizzy and Blue and Gwendolyn and even Colt, who is actually one of our other main characters, but I wish we would have gotten to know him a little more in terms of who he is and where he's from and things of that nature. It was just so underdeveloped that it honestly looked more like it was a first draft of a novel as opposed to it being an actual published full-length novel. So the overall perspective that is given in this novel is kind of a third-person omniscient kind of thing, where we are able to really get into the minds of several different characters at one time as opposed to being only in one person at a time. And it mostly is divvied up between Mia, Dino, and Colt, who ends up becoming Mia's friend. I would have preferred it if there was actually individual parts of chapters or individual chapters where we only looked at the person that we are experiencing the perspective from, only their head, as opposed to seeing everyone's mind. It just made the novel feel so kind of discombobulated and convoluted, and just I didn't really like how that was set up. I definitely think that if you're going to do third-person omniscient, you need to remain in third-person omniscient. You need to actually not delve into individual characters for one perspective and then all of a sudden go into another character's head at the same time. It just doesn't work. So in terms of the love interest that is involved in the story, it actually was really nice. It wasn't exactly insta-love, which I appreciated because too many YA novels go immediately into an insta-love trope where the main character and his or her love interest immediately have a connection and they immediately fall in love with nothing to fall back with it, no kind of prior relationship or anything. But at the same time, it still plays into this whole destiny trope that I'm not really a fan of, and I just don't like it when characters say, oh, you're my destiny, he's my destiny, it must have been fate that brought us together. I don't like it when YA literature goes into that idea because it makes it seem to be that whenever you get into a relationship with someone, it's your destiny, and it kind of sets up a lot of hopes for readers that they're going to find their one true love at any instant, and it's going to be destiny, it's going to be fate. I just don't like that trope at all, and I think it is absolutely way overused in my opinion. However, there were some really good things about this book that I really liked. There was a really good twist at the very end of the novel that I think really played into what is going to be the next novel of the series. If I get to it, I don't know. It was a really good idea, you know, for a good twist that didn't seem kind of predictable at all. It actually was it was the most least predictable that I could have imagined, and it was really nice. And when there were very high intense scenes, especially a lot of fight scenes, they were really good. They were actually very highly intense, and they really played into the pacing as far as the rest of the novel itself. It was very fast paced in those parts, and it worked, but the rest of the novel being fast paced did not seem to work for me because it felt the rest of the story was so rushed. But there were some times where that fast-paced, high intensity really did work for a lot of the violent fighting scenes and a lot of the climactic parts of the story. So there you guys go. That is basically my very short and simple review of The Witches of the Glass Castle by Gabriella Lepore. I gave this book about 3 out of 5 stars because I think it definitely has a lot of promise, but it definitely reads like a first draft of a novel and needs to be fleshed out so much more for me to give it 5 stars because the relationships were not well fleshed out. The amount of dialogue that was between characters were so fast-paced and so jumpy, and everything just seemed to be rushing towards the end, like almost as if we were just trying to get to the end as soon as possible. It just did not work for me, but maybe you guys have different thoughts on it. So if you guys have read this novel, go ahead and leave a comment down below telling me your thoughts on it, what you liked about it, what you didn't, if you agree with anything that I have said. And if you guys did enjoy this video, please do give it a big thumbs up, and if you're not already and you'd like to be, hit that button down below and subscribe to become an owlet in our flock, and I will see all of you guys in my next video. Bye guys!